Hi friends, welcome back. I'm doing something a little differently today. If you know me, you know I loved Bravo, and so I thought today we could hit play on an episode of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City and talk about it, chat about it. And I think I'm going to call these videos Bravo Chats because I really just want to chat. And today we made a little fun drink. Every time we'll have a fun drink or something to snack on or even eat lunch. I don't know. We'll see. I don't get to talk about Bravo enough. Everyone around me is worn out. So I'm just going to talk to my phone about Bravo. So this week we are on episode 14 of season 6. I'm going to watch it. I can't show you any of it because copyright. I can't play any audio of it because copyright. So what we'll do is just watch it. You can play it on your side if you want to, or this could just be like a recap for you and just throw me on in the background and do the dishes or whatever. This one's called The Higher the Hair, the Closer to God. So we've got Whitney throws a high body count surprise party in honor of Brittany, who was touched. So a little bit of background. Salt Lake City, well, we're on episode 14, so we're pretty far into the season. What has happened so far? They've been on a trip. They've come back. The big scandal from the trip is on the plane ride home. Meredith went off on Brittany because Brittany threw out a rumor that Seth was cheating on Meredith on the yacht. That was the below deck crossover episodes. And Meredith has had it out for her ever since. So we're picking up today with everybody's back home. I won't give you a full recap of the season because if you're watching this, you probably already know everything that has happened. So we'll just dive right in. And I don't know how many of these I'm going to do. I don't want this to become like my full-time job or anything. So I don't know if I'll be doing every franchise every week. That's not going to happen. But I do like to touch base maybe once a week, maybe not. And just talk about all this stuff because I find it so fascinating what the dynamics are between all of these different ladies and all of these different cities over all of these years. We have to remember that OC, Real Housewives of Orange County, started 20 years ago. The cameras have been following some of these ladies for 20 years. And I really don't think, other than a couple of movies that have followed people for a long time, I can think of that one, A Boy's Life or something like that, where they actually in real life followed some people for a very long time. But yeah, this is very unusual that we have stuck around with the same set of people for years and years and years. But I also think these shows tell us a lot about families, women's relationships, marriages. It's not all just craziness. There's a lot of socially really interesting things that happen. But for today, we're going to watch this episode and we're going to talk about it. My remote is... Here it is. All right, the beginning of the episode, we've got Whitney. We're at Whitney's house and Heather is coming over. This is the party that Whitney has planned for Brittany, which they all seem to hate and love to give her a hard time. So Whitney is putting on a little party. Evidently she's cooked some broccoli. Actually, she said she just opened up the broccoli and it totally made the whole house smell like farts. And they're trying to get rid of the broccoli smell. Angie just came over, Angie Katzeneva. So Angie's here. She's brought her hummus. Is that what she brought? And now Bronwyn has shown up. Bronwyn's here, and she is one of the ones last week that threw Brittany's unicorn, her stuffed unicorn, over the side of the yacht, which I thought was a little harsh. Mary just came, and we've all decided we're going to do high body count hair, which they're not really doing high body count hair. I guess they are kind of, but they're basically just all teasing their hair and making it look so ugly and gross. And that is supposed to be in solidarity for Brittany. When they just had a flashback of Brittany coming into that party last year and her hair didn't look this terrible. Everybody's hair looks horrible, so they're all hiding in the corner because they want to surprise Brittany. This is a surprise party. A surprise, we're going to support Brittany party. After the yacht trip where everyone yelled at her and basically made fun of her the whole time, took her stuffed unicorn that Jared had put a message of "you are loved" inside of it, threw it overboard. It's just like we're having a surprise. Somebody feels bad for how they treated Brittany, and we're having a surprise party. So Brittany is thoroughly surprised. She's saying that she's so touched, so happy, and she seems to be really touched. Just like the episode description said, Brittany is touched. You are loved. This is exactly what the doctor ordered, she said. So someone missing from this party, 2 people missing from this party, are Lisa and Meredith. Lisa's not here. Meredith isn't here. Meredith is the one that screamed and yelled at her, on the airplane ride. Kind of the reason why they're all coming together to support Brittany, because they think Lisa and Meredith went overboard. That's where her unicorn went, was overboard. Bronwyn has brought in a mini Build-A-Bear station. So they are offering her a chance to have her stuffed animal remade with new voices. You know how you can record your voice and put it inside the Build-A-Bear and it can say whatever it wants. You can say whatever you want to say and put it inside of the Build-A-Bear. That's what they've all done. Whitney has put in a voice of, "Brittany, you are so strong and so courageous. I love you." Heather, actually, Angie records her saying, "You have beautiful hair and I love you," but all in Greek. So whenever you play it, it's in Greek. Heather says, "Hi, Brittany, I love you. I'm glad we're friends." Bronwyn's just says, "You're a star, Brittany." And then they go to play Mary's, what Mary has recorded for Brittany, and it's just silence. There's nothing that Mary recorded for Brittany. And they're like, "Well, at least it wasn't negative." But Mary's like, "No, I'm not going to leave anything for her." And they have a flashback to the boat to where Brittany is yelling at Mary and saying she's the least Christ-like person she's ever seen. That's what Brittany said about Mary. So Mary is, still butthurt over that. They cheers to high body count, hair, and friendship. The girls are sitting around at the party and they're talking about Meredith, and they're saying that Meredith has said that she never spoke directly to Meredith. She never spoke directly to Brittany. She said that Brittany had headphones on and didn't hear what she was saying, and how could Brittany be so offended because she wasn't even talking to Brittany. She wasn't even saying anything to Brittany. So, like, how could she be offended? Brittany saying, I heard everything. She was saying things directly to me. She was shaking my seat. There was hair pulling. So we've got two different stories, which a lot of people have said. I've heard on podcasts and, on my groups that I check out, Reddit, everywhere. Why wasn't anybody filming this? They could have been filming it, and they've just chosen not to show the footage because it's more interesting of a show. If you don't know exactly what someone has said, then they all can sit around just like this and blow it up and make it something that it isn't, or deny, or whatever. They can kind of make it a storyline of their own. So if you're like, why wasn't somebody filming it? Especially if they're in the plane, they all have phones. They were in first class with the producers and the production staff. So you would think surely somebody was filming it. Well, they probably did, but they're holding it because they know they can make a better show. Also, what gets brought up at this story is Bronwyn's bombshell from last week, where she basically said Todd and her are in an open marriage. Whitney is like, yeah, basically me and Justin are in an open marriage too. Now, we've never heard that really from Bronwyn before. We've kind of heard a little bit from Whitney in the past, but we've never gotten confirmation that that's what Whitney and Justin do. Whitney's just kind of alluded to that. But last week, Bronwyn did kind of drop a bombshell because it had been on Twitter that Todd, her husband, was texting another girl. So Bronwyn comes on and says, yeah, that would have been okay had we already discussed it. So everybody was kind of like, huh? And she's basically saying, yeah, so we've not been speaking for a couple of days. He left the house for a couple of days. Yeah. She's really just coming out and saying this about her marriage, which, see, this is kind of the interesting, if you look at it from a psychological, a sociological vantage viewpoint, zoom in with a zoom in lens. When Bronwyn came on in her first season, you just don't know very much about the marriage. You never do. First season, you have to let these girls marinate and cook. Now this is Bronwyn's second season, right? Is it her second? Is this just her second season? I think so. And we're finding more about her mom. That episode with her mom was crazy, and I think we're going to see more of her this year. The stuff about her mom was so interesting. We're just diving in and really peeling back all of these relationships. Okay, we've got Mary is back at her church. She says for about 2 years she was doing renovations on her church. So she is back. The church looks better than ever. I think, I remember in the very beginning, there was a lot of talk about Mary and her church, and if Mary was a cult leader, and if this congregation or whatever her following was a cult. So there was a lot. There's actually a little mini documentary coming out about Mary and her church and all of the, I don't know if you would say scandals or information kind of surrounding her. So that's coming out pretty soon. But she's talking to Robert Jr., her son. And this is another interesting part because we've seen Robert for a few years now. And most recently, he has went to rehab for his struggles with alcohol and drugs. So he's in this scene. He's in this episode. Have we seen him this? Yes, we have seen him earlier in the season. This is episode 14. So we're pretty deep into the season. I'm trying to remember. She did have another scene with him where he came in and said, I relapsed. And she was like, okay, let's, move forward and get you the help. He's only 21. He has been to rehab, but he seems to be really struggling. And there's some things that have happened since this show has quit filming, or since this season has quit filming. I think he got in trouble for breaking and entering or something like that. I'm not sure. I can't remember. He got into a little bit of legal trouble, which is all terribly heartbreaking. And I think that's why Mary has become a real fan favorite. They said at BravoCon she got a huge standing ovation. Lots of people were rallying around Mary, chanting Mary, Mary, Mary. So I think people are really connecting with what she's sharing. She's sharing some things that are really, really, really personal. Okay, their scene is over and we are out to a coffee shop with Lisa Barlow and John Barlow. Lisa ordered a lemon loaf. She ordered a lemon loaf. She said, I'm gonna have your lemon loaf. I love Lisa Barlow. I know. She's the villain. But I have liked her from episode 1, season 1. In this scene, we've got John and Lisa not really connecting. They're having a bit of a bumpy ride in their marriage. Or so it's, or that's their storyline for this season. You can't really take any of this stuff too seriously, because sometimes the producers might be saying to them, hey, you got anything to talk about? And then they're like, well, we went to marriage counseling once or twice for X, Y, or Z. And they're like, let's talk about that. So sometimes things, because they're sitting down and talking about it, sometimes things are filmed that aren't super serious. And then other times they're filming some things that they would like for you not to think it's serious, but the camera always picks it up. But I actually think this might be pretty personal and real, because John Barlow seems to be a little different, especially during this conversation. In past seasons, he has been really, really super supportive of Lisa and not really complained a lot. And she's very overpowering, and you can tell that she is an extrovert. She talks and talks and talks and talks and talks. He never gets a word in edgewise. And he's just kind of like living her life. He's just like on for the ride. But in this scene in particular, and you can let me know what you think, I think he's a little different. I think he's trying to stand up for himself. And I think Lisa is actually hearing him, because he's saying, you just don't hear me. You don't let me speak. You cut me off. all we talk about is business. We don't really talk about anything else. And then he kind of makes fun of her a little bit. He picks up his phone and he's like, this is you. What? What? And she is like, stop. No. I'm like, no. Like, no. And he's like, yeah. Sorry, I keep on moving around because I did pull this muscle over here and it's like still healing. So that's kind of like what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like John is, I feel like John is really trying to say something to Lisa, and she is hearing it and she's getting teared up, which Lisa gets teared up every episode. But God, one thing about Lisa is I feel like, you know, she has been the villain every season, but it's because you can get her so activated. And I think the cast has decided if you can get her activated, it's an explosive episode. And you get her activated, she starts spinning like a top. And it's explosive and it makes for good TV. And the producers know that and the rest of the cast knows that. So they pick at her. I think they pick at her in the name of the show. And usually every season she has an ally. You really need to always give Lisa an ally, because if not, it becomes very overbearing. Kind of like how they're doing Brittany this season. And the fact that Whitney was having that party at the beginning of the episode, they know if the audience, if us as the audience, it happens every time, I promise you. If they all gang up on one person, the audience will take that one person's side, because we don't like to see one person getting ganged up on. And they could have done something really bad. I think the exception is Teresa Giudice from Jersey. And I think the exception is also, I'm gonna lift this up, Jen Shaw from Salt Lake City, because she was such a criminal that nobody wanted to have anything to do with her, because it was FBI. It's like, no, thank you, don't want to have. So there are exceptions. But normally if it's just piddly stuff, the audience will side with the victim. And so if a housewife is smart, they will not leave it to be 1 versus 5 or 1 versus 6, which Real Housewives of Orange County comes on later this week, but we can kind of see that happening on OC, because they went after Katie Janela, and it left Katie all alone. And who's the fan favorite now? Katie. And who is a super duper professional housewife, meaning they know the game inside and out, through and through, is Tamra. And who became friends with the victim? Tamra. She knows how to play the game. You may not like her, but she's probably the most cunning housewife out of everybody. Okay, so next scene, we've got Brittany meeting up with her on and off boyfriend, Jared Osmond. Yes, of the Osmond family. Okay, they are broken up. She was supposed to be on a 30-day fast from Jared. They have broken up and gotten back together probably 30 times over one season. This is Brittany's second season. She is only a friend of. She is not a full-time housewife, and I think that's okay. They're going for a walk in a park, and she's brought them Starbucks. So they're going to, since they have a drink, we'll take a drink. Side note, The straw is way too long for this cup. Okay. Jared Osmond comes up and says, oh, she brings the drinks over. Oh, thank you for the drinks. Let's talk. Let's walk and talk. And he said, you know, I heard from Whitney's husband, Justin, that you were flirting with everybody on that yacht. The captain, the deckhands, the crew. That's true. She was. And she's like, but we were on a break. Why do you even care? Why do you get to tell me that that's bad? And she immediately calls him out on that. And he's like, okay, yeah, but I just needed to tell you that bothered me. And she's like, you haven't even asked me about my airplane trauma. Because remember, she's meeting up with Jared because she wants to talk about her difficult plane ride home because Meredith was yelling and screaming at her and tormenting her. And the other girls, including Mary, have said that that's true. Because for a minute I was like, there's no video footage of that. Like, Brittany's always overstating. Because she does it all the time with Jared. She's like, we're going to get married. We're not going to get married. We've broken up. No, we're going to get married. So it's kind of hard to believe Brittany. But even Mary was like, no, Meredith was going crazy. So she's trying to tell Jared right now. And they get into a fight down by the river. They're on a trail, on a nature trail. They're down by the river. She's wearing sky-high heels, and she's trying to walk on the rocks. And so she's like, she walks away from Jared. She's screaming and saying, I don't understand you. You're so confusing to me, because do you want to be my boyfriend? Do you not want to be my boyfriend? Do you want to be exclusive? Do you not want to be exclusive? He doesn't answer, which is so... That's what makes this so weird, because I think he is gaslighting her. But all it does is make her look crazier. And it's this weird little circle. Like, part of me, I know he's manipulating her. You can see it on the screen. And then the other part is like, she is very weebly wobbly. 2 episodes ago, we met, Brittany was meeting with her daughter. Her daughter's kind of estranged from her. And her daughter was even saying, you know, you weren't a great mom to me, etc., etc. So Jared would just be another person in her life that is kind of saying the same thing. Which makes me feel bad for Brittany, because it's like, once you're labeled that, she probably feels like she can't move past it or get out of it. So she might feel a little stuck in being the unstable girl. I don't know. I do feel bad for Brittany. I don't think Jared is a good guy. He went to BravoCon and he was on the stage and they introduced him, and he got the biggest boo from the crowd. The crowd did not like him and they booed him. Okay, we are back and we are at Todd and Bronwyn's house. Todd is inside, Bronwyn is coming in. And their house is decorated terribly. It looks terrible. You can let me know what you think. Okay, Bronwyn is saying we need to talk. She wants to talk about the Twitter post of Todd checking out another girl on the phone. They're trying to work it out, trying to come back together. He wants to come back home, which I don't believe that part of Bronwyn's story. I think she came in hot and said, how dare you talk to another girl on your phone. he got defensive, which she said that. And then she said she kicked him out. It's reading to me like he left because he got called out. And then they have this very vague conversation about whether or not he wants an open marriage. And to me, it kind of sounds like she's saying, I will be open to discussing what you want to do. And I feel like, what about what you want to do, girlfriend? I'm like, what do you want to do, Bronwyn? Do you want to be married to this grandpa? I mean, Todd is like, is he 75 years old? I'm not saying 75 is bad. I'm just saying is she 40? I'd have to look up and see what her age is. Pause. I was so right. Bronwyn is 40. And Todd, what's Todd's last name? Okay, so Todd is only 65. I'm sorry, I added an additional 10 years to him. He doesn't look 65. He looks much older. 25-year difference. Bronwyn is only 40. I'm like, what do you want to do? But in this conversation, she's basically saying, Todd, you need to decide. I can't love you any more than I already love you. He's saying, we've been together 11 years. She was with him when she was 29. They've been together 11 years, right? Because 11, 30, 29. I don't know if she's secretly trying to say, I want to date other people. And she can't quite say that because if he divorces her, does she get half? He's rich because he invented the Palm Pilot. That's where that money comes from. So they're talking and she's like, oh, by the way, I told all of our intimate details to Whitney. And he's like, I'm 65 years old. You don't tell intimate details. No, he didn't say that, but that's basically what he's saying. He's like, those are our intimate details and you shouldn't be telling anybody else about our sex life. And that's the way it is. And Bronwyn's like, well, I do want to tell my friends about what's going on. She's basically saying what she can't say is, I'm on this show. I've got to have things to talk about. This is really juicy. So I'm going to talk about it. And it's going to be filmed. It's going to be on TV. All of your Palm Pilot buddies that you go golfing with or whatever you do, play Scrabble, are going to know about it. So there you go. You're welcome. Yeah, so he's saying he doesn't really enjoy that. And she's like, well, you're probably going to need to get over it. She starts crying and he's like, please don't cry. I'm like, you know, he's not very loving during any of this. He's been sitting like this the entire time, kind of like very closed off. He's not reached in, touched her, hugged her, consoled her. But yet again, we really don't know. We don't know these people. We don't know really what's going on. This is just what they're choosing to share. Sometimes things get picked up that they didn't choose to share and we get to see a peek behind the curtain. But as for right now, I think Bronwyn is very careful and very, not calculated. She's very controlled with what she shares and strategic, I guess I should put it that way. Okay, so we are now going back to Mary's church. She's going to be coming back, like we said. It's the reopening of the church. It's been closed for 2 years. I guess it's been closed for 2 years for remodeling. she's coming back and she's going to preach. She's going to do a sermon. And she is trying to get in the building, and the running joke with Mary is she can never get into a building. If you remember, was it last year when she was going to Meredith's party, she was stuck outside and she was like looking in the window, and she couldn't see in the glass, but everybody could see out towards me. So everybody could see Mary like looking in. So here she is, unable to get into her office at the church, but somebody came and let her in. So she's getting ready. She does say that Robert Jr. was supposed to come, but they got in the car and she looked over and she could tell that he was not sober. So she said, "You can't come. You're not sober." So I'm not sad. She looks great. She's in red. She looks really pretty in this dress and in her gloves. She looks really pretty. She's just talking about they're taking it one day at a time. She's really, really disappointed that he's not here. But she's just going to move forward. They're going to move forward. The camera is now on Whitney and Heather driving together to Mary's church. It seems like they have all been invited to Mary's big return to the church. And so Whitney is explaining to Heather that it's not going to be anything like a Mormon church, because evidently these are Brittany's words, these are Whitney's words, that the Mormon church or the church that they went to was it was kind of like silent, reverent. Is that what she says? That it was very calm and low key at their church when they were Mormons. But Mary's church is a Pentecostal church, so it's a different ball game. There's singing and dancing, and it's a very vocal congregation, unlike where they have come from. So we are at the church, we're outside. Bronwyn is the first one there. She's waiting on everybody to come. She's in her little funky outfit. Angie walks up. Angie already knows everybody there. Angie's like, hey, she's hugging people that she just knows, parts of Mary's family, people in Mary's family. Heather and Whitney show up. Everybody's dressed in their Sunday best. And they are wondering or asking each other, is Meredith coming? Is Lisa coming? Is Meredith coming? Remember, they all don't like Meredith because of what she did to Brittany on the plane. And then Lisa and Meredith walk up. So they're like, oh, they are coming. They're coming. Okay, they're here. They're all shocked that Lisa and Meredith, number one, have been invited, and number two, that they have come to the sermon. Wow, Lisa's boots, I'm just now seeing them. They are so tall. Meredith has a boot on her foot, not boots, but a boot on her foot because she has hurt her toe. So she has one sandal on and one boot on. Lisa has two very tall, sky-high actual boots. They're all standing around talking about how shocked they are that Lisa and Meredith came. Lisa's like, I don't care if you like me. I don't care if you hate me. I'm here. Everybody's staring at Meredith's busted toe. And Heather, I think, makes a little side comment about Brittany, but they don't really pursue it at all. So we're all walking in and finding a place to sit inside the church. Lisa and Meredith are arm in arm. And then we've got a kind of a compilation of the church, Mary singing, shouting, introduction of Mary, saying Mary's back after 2 years. And so we have a lot of the crowd goes wild. All the girls are there. All the girls are fully participating. We talk about how Mary has a gold microphone and a bedazzled Bible. It seems to be like her congregation is really super, super, super excited that she's there and that she's back. And so Angie is talking for a little bit and saying that she's so proud of Mary. Mary's already crying at the altar, I guess, or the podium. I forget what that stand is called. I think it's the podium, but I don't think so. It's something else. I can't remember. So Mary is just preaching and saying that she's so thankful for what God has done for her. She mentions the girls one by one and says things like, Bronwyn, I know you're going to be okay. So while Mary is doing her sermon, she talks about how her mom passed away recently, how she wasn't invited to the funeral. Her and her mom were not on good terms. She worries about her mom's soul, if she's going to rest in peace. So it's very heavy. All the girls are crying. Everyone is really connecting to Mary. And Mary mentions each one of the girls kind of one by one. And then we have a very strange confession from Lisa Barlow. It switches over to her in her confessions, and she's saying, like, I loved going to Mary's church. I can't remember, she said, I like all faiths, or you can find connection in all different kinds of faiths, except for the church of, I don't even want to say it on YouTube because I don't know if I'll get, but the devil. And then she's like, but we even make donations to them. And the person interviewing her was like, you make donations to who? And she's like, the church of the devil. Like, if they want Vita tequila, we supply it to them. We don't discriminate. And it just kind of sits there like, you know, there are some things that you just don't have to share. I know she has a tequila business, and I guess one of your customers is Church of the Devil, but I mean, you don't have to like share everything on TV, but whatever. It's Lisa Barlow. I don't know. So we pretty much end the episode here with Mary coming down off of the stage, and she's greeted by all the girls and everybody's giving her a hug, and she goes into a little prayer circle with all the girls, and they all get prayed over by Mary. And then something that I always love at the end is our previews for next week. We've got some shenanigans, fun and shenanigans with Heather and Whitney trying to move a bed around. But the best part is, no, don't start the next one. The best part is Bronwyn sitting down with her mom. We get a Muzzy and Bronwyn scene, which is always good. And then it looks like Brittany and Meredith are going to meet up in a park and talk about everything. We'll see how that goes. I don't predict that going very well at all. Okay, so that was our first Bravo chats. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did, because I got to talk about everything I needed to talk about. I want to do more of these. I think it's fun. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you would like. I would love it. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.